got this question from a DM who asked me, a DM on Instagram, who asked me, hey, Dr. Islam, what is the difference between a food allergy and a food intolerance? So I'm curious, have you guys heard of this? Have you guys heard of a food allergy? Have you heard of a food intolerance? Have you been told you have a food allergy, but then you see this allergy list, you see a whole bunch of foods, you can't eat them, then you're wondering, okay, what can I eat? Or what actually happens when you have a food allergy? Or what happens when you have a food intolerance? Very common question that I get. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about that, or what you guys think about that, or whether you think this actually may be something that you've heard about. So here's kind of the gist of the story. A food allergen is an actual allergic response that you have to eating food. You actually have a physiological response in which you have the allergen cells attack your body when you ingest those foods. And that can manifest in a lot of different ways. Hives, for example, shortness of breath, choking, itching skin, feeling sweaty, having an actual allergic reaction that actually happens when you have a food allergy. These are tests that we can check for by doing a skin prick test. A skin prick test does a very good job of telling you what a food allergy is. And when you have an allergy, like a peanut allergy, you'll actually have an allergic response to that. Now, very, very, very different from a food intolerance. So a food intolerance is something that you cannot test for. No one can test for. They may put out these kits that are out there. They say, hey, we can determine exactly what you are intolerant to. Guess what? Those kits make no sense whatsoever. It is a waste of your time and it's a waste of your money. And my goal as your poop guru is to give you the accurate information so you don't waste your time and waste your money. There is no benefit at all with getting a food intolerance test. Now, a lot of people have food intolerances. So for example, gluten is a very common food intolerance. Milk is a very common food intolerance. Fructose is a very common food intolerance. We typically cannot test for some of these conditions, but your body will manifest those symptoms as bloating, distension, abdominal pain, getting very, very big, a lot of gas. But there is no direct test for a food intolerance. So you may be intolerant to gluten, but unless you actually have the autoimmune condition called celiac disease, we cannot test for that, no matter what food allergen that you have. And this is the big difference, because a lot of people have these intolerances and they have gut issues, but it's very different from an actual allergy, in which it can manifest as hives and things like that.